Ever feel like, your brain is just all over the place, thoughts kind of scattering?
Oh, yeah.
What if you could like actually train it,
Okay.
to be calmer and more focused?
Right.
That's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
The whole world of mindfulness
Mm-hmm.
and how it can actually like reshape your brain's activity. We've got a cool mix of sources for this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
A scientific study from the Australian National University,
Oh, wow.
and then all the buzz it created on Reddit.
That's a great combo. Gives
Yeah.
us the hard data, and then you get the real world perspectives too.
Exactly. So our mission is to uncover what these brain changes could mean for you,
Right.
even if you've never meditated before.
Yeah, because we're not just talking about temporary effects while you're actually meditating.
Mm-hmm.
This research is saying that there are lasting changes
Oh, wow.
happening in the brains of these experienced meditators,
Yeah.
even when they're at rest.
Okay, so before we get ahead of ourselves,
Sure.
let's just define what we mean by mindfulness meditation. It's not about emptying your mind, right?
Right. It's more about paying attention to the present moment without judgment.
Okay.
Noticing your thoughts, your feelings, and bodily sensations as they kind of come and go,
Yeah.
but not getting swept away by them.
So more like observing your thoughts instead of getting all tangled up in them.
Exactly. And while people have long-touted benefits like reduced stress and improved focus, this Australian study, they used EEG
Okay.
to compare the brain activity of experienced meditators and non-meditators
Right.
while they were simply resting.
Hold on. They saw differences in brain activity, even when people weren't actively meditating.
Yeah.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Tell me more about what they found.
Well, they found differences in 3 specific types of brainwaves:
Okay.
theta, alpha, and gamma.
Got it.
Each of these is linked to certain mental processes.
Mm-hmm.
For example, theta waves. Those are associated with attention and working memory.
So that could be why people who practice mindfulness seem to have like laser-like focus.
Right. Even in a chaotic environment.
Yeah.
Their brains have gotten better at filtering out the noise.
That's one possible interpretation, yeah.
Yeah.
The study found that the meditators had higher theta activity, especially in the back of their brains.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what about alpha waves?
Sure.
I've heard those are related to relaxation.
Yes, alpha waves are linked to inhibiting distractions
Okay.
and quieting down irrelevant thoughts.
Okay.
The study found that meditators had stronger alpha activity overall. But what's really fascinating is the distribution.
Uh-huh.
They had higher alpha in the front of their brains,
Okay.
the prefrontal cortex.
I've heard that's the CEO of the brain,
Right.
responsible for decision-making, emotional control.
Yeah.
Could this be why people who meditate seem to be less reactive, more level-headed in those stressful situations?
That's a very plausible connection. It seems like regular meditation might actually be strengthening those executive functions,
Yeah.
making people more resilient in the face of challenges. Okay, 2 brainwave down, 1 to go.
Yeah.
What about gamma waves?
All right.
What role do they play?
Gamma waves are involved in some pretty high-level stuff, like integrating information from your senses, higher-level thinking, and maybe even those aha moments of insight.
Hold on. Increased gamma waves
Right.
in the front of the brain. That sounds pretty intense.
It does.
Is that like being constantly switched on?
Yeah.
Or is it more subtle than that?
It's not necessarily about being constantly switched on, but rather having a greater capacity for processing information and making connections.
Okay.
The study found that meditators, they showed increased gamma activity, particularly in the front of their brains, similar to that alpha pattern we were just talking about.
So putting this all together, could this mean that long-term meditators are enhancing their cognitive abilities,
It's possible.
perception, and even their potential for creative breakthroughs?
It's definitely a possibility worth exploring further. It's like they're giving their brains a workout in these specific areas.
The effects are lasting.
And I remember reading through the Reddit thread about this study,
Right.
and somebody brought up a point that made me stop and think. They asked, how do we know these brain differences are caused by meditation? Maybe people with these brain patterns are just drawn to meditation in the first place.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And this particular study can't definitively answer that
Okay.
because it was cross-sectional. They only looked at different groups at a single point in time.
So it's like a snapshot.
Right.
Not a time-lapse video.
Exactly.
So we don't know for sure which came first, the brain patterns or the meditation practice.
Right.
But the researchers did point out that many other studies have shown that meditation can, in fact, change the brain over time.
Exactly. It's fascinating to think about what this could mean for people who are curious about meditation but haven't tried it yet.
Absolutely. Now, notice one other interesting detail in the study. They didn't find any differences between meditators and non-meditators in beta waves, which
Yeah.
are linked to alertness.
In a measure of overall brain activity balance.
Yeah.
What's the takeaway there?
It reinforces that the changes we're seeing are specific to those three frequencies, theta, alpha, and gamma. It's not just a general increase in brain buzz.
Right. It's not like meditation is turning their brains into overdrive. It's more about refining
Yeah.
specific aspects of brain function.
Exactly. The changes are targeted and meaningful, suggesting a level of control and precision.
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable.
It really highlights the subtlety of these effects, doesn't it? It's not just about making your brain more active. It's about fine-tuning specific functions for better focus, attention, and emotional regulation.
Exactly, like fine-tuning an instrument to get the most harmonious sound.
And speaking of harmony, I'm remembering that intriguing comment about empathy from the Reddit discussion. The user suggested that meditation could lead to becoming a kinder person due to increased activity in those brain areas associated with empathy. Do you think there's a connection there?
It's an interesting idea, and it's not entirely far-fetched. If mindfulness is about cultivating awareness of your own emotions and sensations, perhaps that practice translates to being more attuned to the experiences of others.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like by understanding our own internal world better, we become more sensitive to the internal worlds of those around us.
Precisely. Of course, more research is needed to explore this link between mindfulness and empathy, but it's a fascinating avenue for future study.
Imagine the implications if we could actually train our brains to be more compassionate. Think of how that could impact our relationships, our communities, even global issues like conflict resolution.
It's a compelling thought, isn't it? What if we could cultivate not just individual well-being, but also a more empathetic and compassionate society?
Wow, the possibilities are truly exciting. Before we get carried away dreaming of a utopia, though, let's bring it back to the present moment. What are the key takeaways from this deep dive so far?
Well, the study suggests that even when not actively meditating, experienced practitioners showed distinct brain activity patterns. Remember, they had increased theta activity, which might boost focus and working memory, stronger and differently distributed alpha activity, possibly linked to better inhibition of distractions and emotional regulation, and increased gamma activity, which could enhance higher-level thinking and integration of information.
It's like they've developed these neural superpowers through consistent practice, right? And while more research is needed, particularly those long-term studies that track brain changes over time, it's pretty incredible to think about what this could mean for all of us.
Absolutely. It challenges that outdated notion that our brains are fixed and unchanging.
Right, that we have more agency than we might realize. When it comes to shaping our own mental landscapes, we're not just passengers on this brain train. We have some control over the direction it's heading.
That's a great way to put it. And that brings us to a final thought-provoking question for you, our listener.
Okay, hit me with it. What's the big question we should all be pondering?
If mindfulness can indeed lead to these kinds of changes in brain activity, what implications might this have for how we approach everyday challenges, like learning something new, managing stress, or even navigating personal growth and relationships?
That's a powerful question. It's like opening up a whole new toolbox for personal development,
Right.
right? If we can train our brains to be more focused, calm, and insightful, what could we achieve?
Exactly. And perhaps this deep dive has sparked your curiosity to explore these possibilities further. There are so many mindfulness resources available, from guided meditations to books to online courses.
You know, you've definitely inspired me to explore this more. Maybe I'll try incorporating some mindfulness practices into my daily routine and see what happens.
Yeah.
I've been feeling a bit scattered lately, and who wouldn't want a little more focus and calm in their life?
I think that's a fantastic idea. And who knows, maybe some of our listeners will feel inspired to join you. We could have a collective deep dive into mindfulness.
That would be amazing. We could compare notes and share our experiences. All right, folks, there you have it. Another fascinating deep dive complete. We hope you've enjoyed exploring the world of mindfulness and brainwaves with us today.
Remember, there's always more to learn, more to explore, and more ways to tap into the incredible potential of your own mind.
So keep those brains buzzing, keep those questions coming, and keep diving deep with us. Until next time, stay curious. I love that idea, a collective deep dive into mindfulness. Who knows? Maybe we'll discover some hidden brain-boosting powers we didn't even know we had.
That's the beauty of exploration, right? There's always something new to uncover, especially when it comes to the human mind.
So true. Well, on that note of discovery, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought to ponder. We've been talking about the potential of mindfulness to reshape our brains. But what if we take it a step further? What if this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to our ability to influence our own brain activity?
That's a great point. This research on mindfulness is really just a glimpse into the incredible plasticity of the brain. It suggests that we have far more power to shape our own mental landscapes than we might realize.
It's almost like a call to action, isn't it? A reminder that we're not just stuck with the brains we were born with. We can actively cultivate qualities like focused resilience and even compassion through practices like mindfulness.
Exactly. It's an empowering message, don't you think? We have the potential to become the architects of our own minds.
I love that, architects of our own minds. What a powerful image to end on. All right, folks, that's it for this deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed exploring the fascinating world of mindfulness and brainwaves with us today.
And remember, the journey of discovery doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into the incredible potential that lies within each of you.
So keep those brains buzzing, keep those questions coming, and keep diving deep with us. Until next time, stay curious.